NBA2K.
Undefeated, who could see him, who could beat him.
The Celtics and Lakers share what is easily the greatest rivalry in NBA history. Since the two met for the first time on November 9th, 1948, they've played a total of 357 games, with Boston taking 198 of the matchups. There have been 69 NBA Final Series in history, and the Celtics and Lakers combined for 33 of the possible 69 trophies. The rivalry stretches through nearly every era of basketball, starting as far back as the 60s with Russell and Chamberlain, later moving into the 80s where Larry and Magic carried it, all the way up to what relatively recently ended with Kobe and the Big Three. We could go on all day discussing this decorated rivalry, but today I'd rather experiment with two potential powerhouse rosters these teams had at a point in time. Before we get into what that experiment is, let's rewind the clock back to 2010-2011 season. The Celtics were fresh off of their Game 7 heartbreaker in LA. Rather than breaking up the team this early, Ainge and the crew decided they came close enough to give it another shot. To ensure that their veterans would get proper rest, Boston set out signing multiple impact free agents such as Delonte West, Jermaine O'Neal, and Shaquille O'Neal. These guys were relatively washed at this point, but the idea was that they could do enough to work with each other to win big, as adding them to Boston made them even deeper than they already were, and they now had a huge front line taking pressure off of KG, who was struggling to fully come back from his knee injury in 2009. However, we all know this team failed because for some reason, Danny Ainge thought it was a good idea to just go berserk at the trade deadline, getting rid of Nate Robinson and Kendrick Perkins, who would have been vital when Shaquille O'Neal went down. Shaq has even been quoted saying he told Danny not to do the deal because he knew he wouldn't be ready due to a lingering Achilles injury. A combination of trades and injuries kept this roster from ever reaching its full potential, and they were eliminated by Miami in 5 games. We'll return to the Celtics momentarily. Most of Boston's players were out of their prime when they came together in 2011. The only one who could be considered in one was Rondo, who was easily a top point guard at the time. However, in 2012, the Lakers tried breaking the NBA by joining 4 of its best players. Kobe and Gasol were already paired, but somehow they were able to swing deals to get Steve Nash and Dwight Howard to join them. If your memory is hazy, allow me to help you out. Yes, Steve Nash was 36, but he was still averaging a cool 14 points and 11 assists a game. That season, the Suns' next best player was a 38-year-old Grant Hill. You could say it was Richardson or Carter, but both of them missed significant time that season. The fact that Nash was able to average 11 assists with this roster led many to believe that he would have a field day playing with Kobe, Gasol, and Howard. Speaking of Howard, he was still at the top of his game before heading to the Lakers, averaging 14.5 rebounds and 20 points to go with 2 blocks. But what most people forget is that Dwight's season with the Magic ended with back surgery. He actually returned earlier than he was supposed to for the Lakers because he wanted to be a part of their new super team. Now, if you look at any list about failed super teams, the 2013 Lakers are sure to be on it. Ron Artest had predicted they'd go 73-9. Instead, they'd go on to only achieve an average 45-37 record and get swept out of the playoffs by the San Antonio Spurs. One thing that often gets forgotten though is that this Lakers team really didn't just combine a bunch of stars and fail. They failed mostly due to injuries. If you add up how many games the starting lineup missed together, you see that they missed a combined 80 games. Steve Nash suffered a broken leg just 2 games into the season, Pau Gasol had a foot injury, Kobe tore his Achilles right before the playoffs, and Dwight Howard came into that season with a bad back, not to mention he later picked up a torn labrum. Due to all of these factors, what could have been the most dominant roster in history turned out to be one of the most disappointing ones. But one thing you have to wonder about the Celtics and Lakers roster is what if both of these teams had been in their primes at the time they got together? There's no way you haven't looked at Shaq and KG, Kobe and Nash, and just asked yourself, what if? We forget that even though these teams had high expectations coming into their seasons, both were housing former superstars that were now shadows of themselves. So how would these teams have performed against each other if everyone was the best version of themselves? That, my friends, is what we're going to find out today when we drop both rosters on the court together with their younger versions and let them duke it out. Before we do that, let's compare the roster so we can get a good idea of what to expect. For the Celtics, Rajon Rondo will be running the point. His attributes will reflect what he was from 2010 through the 2012 season. This Rondo, before he tore his ACL in the lockout shortened year, was the best version of Rondo we've gotten to see to date. When you compare these years to what he did last season in Sacramento, statistically he's about the same. The only difference is his team was winning in the other years. This Rondo has got eyes on the back of his head, can easily get you a triple-double, and although he can't shoot, he can really control a game when he has all-star teammates around him, pretty much like he'll have today. At the shooting guard, we'll feature Ray Allen, who will mostly be playing his 07-08 role. Statistically speaking, this was one of his strongest years. It was right before he came to Boston, and he was averaging 26 points per game. If you're looking for physical attributes, it would be the Ray Allen most of you probably don't remember, the one from Milwaukee that was actually pretty athletic. Although our Ray Allen will have that ability, it's highly unlikely he'll use them often, as his role that best suits this Celtics team is to hang around the three-point line and spread the floor. At small forward, none other than the captain Paul Pierce will be leading the way. He's going to be reflecting the 05-06 year, where he was averaging about 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. He was doing this on 47% field goal shooting, easily one of the top players in the league at the time. Our power forward, the big ticket, will be holding down the fort. We'll be pulling him straight from the Wolves in 2K16, as this is his best version. KG was MVP that year, led the Wolves to a 58-24 record, and had ridiculous averages of 24 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists a game on 50% field goal shooting. That's really not even fair, but ironically, that year he was sent home by the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. And to top off this incredible lineup, the man of many nicknames, Shaquille O'Neal, will be filling the middle. Of course, we wouldn't use any other than the 01 version of Shaq straight from the game. Does he really need an introduction? Just put it this way, there probably isn't a player in history that could guard this version of Shaq. It'll be interesting to see what Boston does with him in the offense of so many stars, because in these days, he was the top dog. Just a mention for the bench, the Celtics will have both Nate Robinson and Jermaine O'Neal in their prime forms. If you didn't know, Robinson was a 17 point per game scorer in 09, and O'Neal was a top power forward in his prime with Indiana. Both will be expected to make massive contributions off the bench. On to the Lakers side, we'll be taking the MVP version of Steve Nash straight from the game on the 05-06 Suns. Some people say Kobe deserved that MVP over him, but today he will be the beneficiary of Nash's awesome court vision and floor spacing. Kobe Bryant, aka Froby, will be coming straight from the 01 Lakers, and this is easily one of the toughest Kobes to guard. Although there are versions of him that are more technically sound, this Kobe is an amazing athlete and he's unguardable, so Ray Allen should have fun with that. At the 3, the other man of many names, Ron Artest, will be playing in his prime form when he was with the Pacers. Many people don't remember what he was doing back then because of the malice at the Palace that pretty much damaged his image. But he was one of the best two-way players at the time, and the Lakers will need more of what he brings on the defensive end to deal with Pierce. At power forward, Gasol from his Grizzlies days will be dealing with KG down low. His best year was easily right before he came to Los Angeles, as he was one of the most skilled big men in the game, and his ability to pass the ball will be much appreciated in this offense. Finally, we will get a massive battle down low from Shaq and Dwight Howard, as we're taking D12 from his Superman days in Orlando. To be specific, we're using the 2010-2011 Howard almost right before he moved to LA. This version of Howard is an unbelievable athlete, as virtually nobody could deal with what he brought in the paint. He could score, rebound, and he was on his 3rd Defensive Player of the Year award by now. As mentioned before, injuries have scaled him back quite a bit since then, but make no mistake, Howard was a problem back then. The only honorable mention for the Lakers bench is Antoine Jamison. Most people only remember Jamison for being the subpar role player the Cavs received in the 2010 trade, but the Jamison we're aiming for is the 2001 version, where he was doing 25 and 9. The Lakers will need as much of that as they can get, because Boston's got a deep bench. Meanwhile, LA's bench basically begins and ends with him. And so, the match is set. Both teams are stacked to the brim with talent, but the winner will be whichever manages it the best. Both teams have 5 superstars, but there's only one basketball, so don't expect to see every player eat the way they normally would. Will Boston sacrifice everyone else's game to throw it down to Shaq often? Will Kobe be unselfish so that his superstar teammates can flourish? We find out now. The stage is set in LA because, well, who doesn't like Los Angeles? The super teams are set and ready to go at each other's throats. The Lakers win the tip, and Nash immediately exercises his floor general skills with a no-look cross-court pass to an open Kobe, who calmly sinks the jumper. Boston immediately makes it apparent that no one player will be dominating the offense. They put an emphasis on setting screens all around the court and inciting player movement to get one of their stars the best shot possible. This time, it's Kevin Garnett, and he scores the Celtics' first basket of the night. On the other side, Dwight Howard tries to get it going early as he catches it very deep in the paint, but quickly finds out that the 2004 MVP Garnett is giving up no buckets that easy. He's gonna have to come with something way better than a weak layup attempt. This turns into a three-pointer on the other end for Pierce, and the Celtics lead 5-2. This sequence gets Dwight in the mindset to attack, as scoring on Shaq and KG with no jump shot is a tall task. Howard catches Shaq asleep on defense and drives straight into the paint where Kobe hits him for an easy slam. This play sets off a quick 12-4 run for the Lakers as Nash finishes it with a three that gives Los Angeles a 14-9 lead halfway through the first quarter, and Howard has scored half of these points. While the Celtics continue to search for the best shots possible, the Lakers have made a clear game plan to get Howard going early. Next, it's Kobe Bryant's turn to be the focus. After Garnett drives past Gasol easily to throw one down over Nash, Kobe becomes relentless, as many people wondered what he would play like surrounded by so much talent. Directly after KG's dunk, Kobe takes Ray Allen one-on-one, who has no hopes of staying in front of a prime Kobe on an island by himself. Bryant elevates for a slam as LA starts to roll with some momentum. After a Garnett miss, Kobe goes right back to the island with Ray Allen, as Boston's defense apparently hasn't gotten the memo that Kobe is going to attack every time he only sees one man. This time, he takes Ray into the post and drives middle for his patented fadeaway to give the Lakers a 5-point lead. But surprisingly, out of all the people to counter Bryant's run, Nate Robinson comes off the bench for Boston and immediately contributes. The Lakers play a picture-perfect defensive possession as Steve Nash blocks Rondo's shot out of bounds with only 1.7 seconds left on the shot clock. Nate Robinson subs in and hits an impossible turnaround three in the face of Nash to beat the clock, and this saves Boston from slipping into a hole. The rest of the first quarter is virtually all Nate Robinson, as he explodes for 12 points in just the short 3 minutes he was subbed in. Although Kobe scores twice more, Robinson's hot streak allows Boston to get out of the first quarter with a 2-point lead. It's also worth noting that the end of the first quarter left no questions of which team had the better bench. Boston was able to get their starters rest while their big men still clogged the paint, and they had a consistent ball handling threat. Meanwhile, LA was depending on Kobe to carry the second unit. Both teams are being fairly selective in the paint, as the Lakers almost exclusively feature Howard with Gasol getting no touches, and Boston has sparingly used Shaq, as most of the times he's just out there setting screens. Boston chooses to increase their paint presence in the second half, featuring Garnett more in the offense. He opens the quarter on a 6-0 run by himself, hitting 2 jump shots and a layup. Meanwhile, LA looks completely stagnant and lost on offense without Kobe to penetrate the Celtics defense. Boston takes a 33-25 lead early in the second quarter. With 8.5 minutes to go in the second, LA stupidly has still not subbed Bryant back in, and Allen slices to the rim to give Boston an 8-point lead. Nothing is working for the Lakers, as on the other side, they try to get Gasol going in Kobe's absence. He is rudely turned away, as his first shot attempt is tossed into the crowd by Shaq. This gets Gasol pissed, and as Kobe would say it, he puts his big boy pants on and tries Shaq again, this time using a nifty spin move to get O'Neal off balance, scoring a pretty reverse layup. By the time Bryant subs in at the 5:14 mark, LA has actually managed to hold their own without him. Despite Boston trying to pull away, Jody Meeks contributed some nice shooting, scoring 9 points off the bench, and the deficit is only 5 as Kobe checks back in. Bryant picks up exactly where he left off as Robinson tries to get it going again, but is ripped by Steve Nash. Kobe throws down a fast break double clutch slam, and all of a sudden, the Lakers have life again. A minute later, after some back and forth misses by both teams, Kobe finds a favorable matchup with Robinson in the post. He is easily able to use his size to get through Robinson and a reverse lay and a beautiful Euro step. However, Boston is able to enter the half up by 1 as they match the Lakers shot for shot. Paul Pierce specifically hits an impossible shot over Artest, who was doing everything he could on defense to disrupt his rhythm. But that's why Pierce is known as one of the best scorers ever, as he's able to create something out of absolutely nothing here. At halftime, Boston leads 46-45, and they're fairly even in all aspects except assists. Surprisingly, LA has been far better passing team, as they've had to manufacture something without Kobe on the floor. But even though he's been scoring, he's been unselfish as well, and that would continue into the second half. The Celtics come out of the locker room firing, as they're ready to take complete control of the game. Noticing that the Lakers haven't yet had a consistent threat other than Kobe Bryant, the Celtics focus efforts on shutting him down while they get good shots. Boston opens up the quarter with a Pierce jump shot, as Artest is again unable to keep the clamps on him. After Bryant scores what would be his only basket for the next 6 minutes, Pierce is now taking Artest to the torture chamber, as his offensive bag of tricks is too much for even the best defender to compete with. Garnett follows this up by dribbling straight past Gasol for the second time this game, as there is no help D in the paint for some reason. The Lakers are trying to hang on as Boston momentum increases, but they just can't slow down Pierce, who gets inside for yet another easy score. After Howard gets open off a nice feed from Bryant for a dunk, Boston finally blows the lid off. They go on a 10-0 run as KG and Shaq absolutely manhandle the Lakers inside. The Celtics have been reluctant to let their offense run through Shaq, but here it pays off, as no one can stop him when he's aggressive. Aside from the aggressive inside play, the Celtics defense is absolutely smothering, forcing Los Angeles to turn the ball over multiple times and force bad shots. The Lakers spend most of the third quarter trading baskets, trying to figure some way to get back into the game, but the difference is the Celtics are doing a better job sharing the ball between 5 superstars. Everyone is getting their own. Dwight Howard is able to find some success rebounding and scoring off putbacks in the paint, and the Lakers finally catch a break as Howard steals the ball, and it finds its way to Kobe Bryant for the fast break dunk, as he's been cold all quarter after such a hot first half. Kobe follows this up with another bucket as he's able to get free for a jump shot, and on the next possession, he tosses a beautiful no-look pass into Howard for one of his next 2 dunks. Dwight is now having a monster game with 20 points and 9 rebounds. The tandem of Dwight and Kobe is able to get the Celtic lead down to just 3, as their defense is overpowering Kobe is performing the way he is. Not only is he scoring, but he's working on a career high in assists. The last quarter of action is set to be wildly dramatic, as the Lakers have fought all the way back following the early third quarter run from Boston. Kobe and Pierce are both leading their teams in the right direction, but only one can be victorious. The Lakers start the fourth, showing they mean business on their home floor, as Kobe assists on 2 straight scores from his big men, Jamison and Gasol, giving Bryant 10 assists with virtually an entire quarter left to play. The Celtics are able to recoup the lead though, as Robinson again hits a big shot. All 14 of his points off the bench have come at crucial moments, and are making up for Rondo's lack of scoring. A few possessions later, Gasol is again abused by a Boston big man as Shaq turns his shoulder and gets right past Gasol for the slam. Powell again is being seen as the weak link in this Laker offense. With 8 minutes left in the game, it's Mamba time. Kobe gets free from Ray Allen, who's fronting him, giving Bryant a wide open pass to the basket. His former teammate and rival, Shaq, is waiting right there for him, but Bryant masterfully waits until Shaq jumps, and O'Neal had mistimed it badly. Kobe is able to absorb the hit, make the bucket, and draw the foul, all while avoiding Shaq's outstretched hand for the block. With the Lakers trailing by 1 and Kobe surging, Boston looks for a way to maintain the lead. The Lakers play near perfect defense for 23 seconds of the shot clock, but again, it's Gasol with the defensive mistake, giving Ray Allen far too much space to spot up, and he calmly knocks down the 3 that gives Boston a full-point lead. At this point, the Celtics figure if they can stop Kobe, they can open up another lead, so they attempt to double team him, but they left way too much floor open. Nash is able to spot up and easily knock down the 3 that cuts Boston's lead to 1. On the next possession, Garnett gets a very easy look at a shot he simply botches, and the Lakers recover the rebound and get down court before Boston can set up their defense. The Lakers use their passing to pick the Celtics' mismatched defense apart, as the next 3 Lakers don't even take a dribble, and Dwight Howard gets an uncontested alley-oop at the rim. We're now left with only 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, Boston trailing by 1. They go down low to Shaq, figuring it's the sure thing. Howard, however, D's him perfectly, as O'Neal doesn't get to his spot under the basket and is blocked by Howard, forcing a shot clock violation, and the Lakers' win is looking more and more likely. The Lakers are up by 2 with a perfect chance to pull away, as Boston is having a tough time getting a shot off on this Lakers defense. The shot clock is winding down, but again, Gasol is out of position guarding Allen on the switch, and he's able to knock down the open jumper to tie the game. Keeping up the tit for tat at the shooting guard position, Kobe gets Allen back on the island he was on earlier in the game, and is easily able to outwork him one-on-one for the gorgeous spin layup. There is now only 3.5 minutes left in the game, and after a couple of Laker errors and turnovers, the Celtics lead by 4, again withstanding everything the Lakers have been able to throw at them, as they now look more than ready to add another win to their collection in this rivalry. Out of the timeout and refocused, the Lakers run a play that gets Howard wide open and running to the rim for yet another alley-oop, and another assist from Kobe Bryant, who is being unusually unselfish this game. But after a couple more gorgeous defensive possessions from Boston, they're able to push the lead to 6 with only a couple of minutes remaining. By now, Howard has basically figured out that Shaq is struggling with his mobility, which is allowing Dwight to get straight to the bucket for easy scores. Howard makes an intelligent cut to the rim, and Kobe spots him with a bullet pass for the and one. The duo of a prime Bryant and Howard has been keeping them alive all game. Of course, Howard misses the free throw, but the Lakers play A1 defense on the other end, tallying 2 blocks in the same possession, as Kobe and Artest have no intentions of losing to their rival. Kobe sees it's time to go to work again. He immediately takes it at Allen, who's had no fortunes guarding him. Bryant spins inside, but this time Shaq is expecting it and makes a statement, slapping it against the backboard. The ball bounces all the way to the other side of the court where Rondo recovers it, and then it's Gasol coming up with the defensive effort, slapping his shot against the backboard. LA recovers the ball, and Artest scores on the fast break layup to bring the game to just 2 points. There's now only a minute remaining, and Rondo of all people throws a crucial pass straight out of bounds, giving LA the ball back. You know, with this point spread, nobody else but Kobe is taking the shots. He tries to force it inside on 3 Celtics and gets a great look, but again, Shaq is there to block his rival and save Boston's lead, and KG makes an amazing save back in bounds. A few possessions go by, and the lid is on the basket for both squads, as neither can convert their opportunities, and LA trails by 2 with under a minute. Running out of chances to tie, the Lakers run a screen play to get Kobe open, and the defense immediately crashes on him. Nobody rotates on Gasol though, who is a proficient mid-range shooter, and he calmly knocks down the shot to tie the game. Out of the timeout, Boston has a chance to take the lead, but Rondo loses the ball to Nash. They immediately get the ball to Kobe, who's created space between him and Ray, and knocks down the clutch jumper to give LA the lead. With 39 seconds left, it's now Boston who's on the ropes. They run multiple screens to find the best option, and it ends up being Shaq wide open under the goal to tie the game. With 3 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock, it's Los Angeles' game to win. The ball is in the hands of Bryant, who aims to use as much clock as possible to take the game. He's already tied his career high in assists with 17, so there's no telling what he'll do. Garnett makes the crucial mistake of fronting Dwight Howard for no apparent reason, but he doesn't pay for it. After throwing about 3 alley-oops to Dwight, they miscommunicate on the easiest play of the game that would have given him the lead. There was absolutely no defensive pressure, nothing to stop this from being the game-winning play, but they botch it and Kobe cannot believe it. The Celtics can now execute a play with no pressure, as they'd either win or go to overtime. There's absolutely no question about who they go to for their shot. Boston wisely makes Shaq inbound the ball, so there's no paint presence for LA. Because of the action Boston runs, Gasol, who's been giving Boston's perimeter players wide open shots the whole night, gets switched on to Pierce. This looked to be the death sentence for LA with the clock winding down, and Boston is sure to try and exploit it, putting the ball in the hands of their captain.
Pierce puts it up for the win, knocks it down, Celtics win!
As was the theme for the entire night, it would be Pau Gasol who was yet again unable to defend a perimeter player, as the Celtics would escape this epic game with their rivals by a mere 2 points. Kobe Bryant is sick, as if he would have connected with Dwight Howard for the alley, their chance to win would have increased significantly. Pierce's game winner was just the finishing touches on what was a magnificent scoring night. He cashed in for 21 points. However, Garnett took home player of the game with his 21 points, 11 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. The difference in the two teams is while Boston had many contributing players, the Lakers heavily relied on Bryant and Howard to win, and they did a solid job meshing unlike in real life. Bryant tied his career high with 17 assists, and Howard had 12 rebounds. However, just like in real life, Gasol wasn't a factor in this offense, as the Lakers did a poor job incorporating his skill set. Looking at the teams as a whole, they were very close to even in every category, with a few outstanding differences. LA was really hurt at the free throw line, where they could have given themselves a chance to win the game. And so, there you have it. According to 2K, if the 2011 Celtics were to play the 2012 Lakers, we'd see a gladiator death match in which the Celtics just barely escaped by the clutch genes of their captain, Paul Pierce. I simulated this game on whatifsports.com and the results were pretty similar. The Celtics squeezed by with a 4-point win, Pierce still dominated, and Gasol was still an outcast in the offense. These two teams gave a very entertaining game in this what-if scenario. Do you have any teams you'd like to see play in a what-if scenario? If so, leave a comment and I'll be sure to read over them. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. I'm Dom2K and I'll see you all next time.